I'm Amber Pugmire-Johnson from Cache County.
Representative Lee Perry from Box Elder and Weber County.
Former South Ogden Mayor from Weber County.
I'm Representative Carrie Ann Lisenby, and we nominate Congressman Rob Bishop because he is a solid conservative and because he holds key positions in Congress to truly help Utahns.
Look, what time does the Jazz game start? Look, this election is not about me or anybody else in any party running for this position. It's about you, because it's your Congress, it's your country, it's your future, your decision of who will best represent you in Washington. When I first ran, I made one promise, that Washington wouldn't change me. I think I've held to that. I'm still a conservative, Republican teacher with a lot more experience, and I have the same frustrations that you do when it comes to government. In fact, sometimes when I'm back there in Washington, I feel like the guy out in the pasture with a rope in his hand, and I'm not quite sure if I just found a rope or just lost a horse. The media wants you to think that there is no bipartisanship taking place in Washington. That's not true. 3 weeks ago, the president signed one of my bills on federal land transfers that can shrink the federal estate that had a majority of Republicans and Democrats in both houses of Congress. It also was endorsed by 80 environmental groups. All right, now that last fact makes me wonder what I did wrong. But we will also have an energy bill there that have an equal number of Republican and Democrat sponsors for it. Like, our Congress has already passed, the House has passed over 500 bills. Over 400 of those are still sitting in the Senate, having never been heard. It is not because of a lack of bipartisanship. It is the procedures of Congress that are the problem. I know when I talk about procedures, you get bored. My students did as well. Their eyes glazed over. But it is the procedures back there that are causing the problem for a lack of progress. One of the things I want to do in my last 2 years in Congress is to make sure we fight to reform those procedures so that every issue is going to be heard by both the House and the Senate. The Trump administration and those agencies have done a lot of positive things, but I want their reforms and their rules and regulations enacted into law so the next administration will not be able just to arbitrarily reverse those things. I want to go back to Washington to try and force through Republican ideas. That's why I'm proud to be on the Armed Services Committee, so we can put the Republican idea that our military has to be strong. At least in that area, we've tried to turn the corner while there is a bipartisan and bicameral approach now to realize the cuts we made in the military during the Obama years harmed our military readiness, and we must invest more money into material and manpower. I am also, I don't have that much time, so don't like what I say. I am also proud to be chairman of the Resource Committee so I can push the Republican concepts that on public lands they must be accessible to you. And it is the federal government that more often than any other group will stop that access. To push the Republican ideas that you should have a greater say in the public lands that are in your particular area. As a teacher, I want to push the Republican ideas that education should be controlled here in Utah, not by a bureaucrat in Washington. As one of the lead negotiators on the tax reform, I am proud that we pushed the Republican idea that actually you should be able to keep more of your hard-earned money. That I am proud to push the Republican idea that we should respect the Second Amendment as an individual right of self-defense, and that my 100% pro-voting record is consistent with the Republican platform. I am proud that Speaker Ryan put me as chairman of the Task Force on Federalism so I can push the Republican idea that more programs and more authority should be spent back to state and local governments where it should have been in the first place. And let's face it, that is the only way we will ever shrink government spending. Like, there are lots of things to do in Washington. 2 years from now, I don't think I'm going to be ready to quit, because there will always be more things to do in Washington, which is why it is important for me to put limits on, because if I am ready to quit, I've already stayed there too long. About a third of you I was able to contact by phone. I thank you for your kindness. But to the other 2/3, I want to say what I said to those first 1/3. Thank you for being a delegate. Thank you for taking this position. This system works if you do your job as a delegate. So I honor you for being part of the solution. And I appreciate your commitment to the Republican Party, to good government, and to this country. I'm asking your vote so that we can go back for another 2 years and march arm in arm to push Republican principles and Republican ideas in Washington. I thank you for who you are. I thank you for what you do. I thank you for being here. Thank you all so very, very much.